"Pops, they're coming for me tonight. I therefore won't be able to attend." Someone is reported to have yelled such horrifying things into a prison phone just hours ago. The music industry has been totally paralyzed by this recording. The tough man has been portrayed by King Harris. We have seen him shout at Waffle House employees and confront his famous father. There are thousands of admirers in front of me. But this recording leak's voice isn't that of the well-known young scion. It is the sound of a 21-year-old guy who has finally accepted that his family's millions cannot stop a jailblade. Tonight, the guarded neighborhoods and luxurious SUVs are gone. King Harris is incarcerated at a facility where his last name is more of a target than a shield. We have first-hand knowledge of a frantic tear-elated late-night call. "I'm having a total emotional collapse." But was this a true assassination plan, or was this the ultimate betrayal from a needy son? The streets are watching. There's not much time left, and I have to make a choice that could lead to violence. In the coming minutes, everything you think you know about the Harris family will change, so pay attention. To truly understand the severity of the dread in King Harris's voice, you must understand the deadly powder keg that has been cooking inside the Harris household for more than 10 years. This is not just a story of a spoilt celebrity kid getting into trouble. A generational tragedy is playing out in the glaring light of day. At the center of it all is Clifford T. The self-described Southern monarch musician is myself, Harris. The T.I.M. is a man who built a multi-million-dollar business out of the bled soil of Bankhead, Atlanta. He battled life-threatening gun charges, survived federal jail, and buried his closest friends to ensure that his children would never have to breathe the stagnant air of a prison cell. The T.I.M. has left his children with a legacy of safety, music, excellent education, gated mansions, power, and everything else. He was rejected by the streets. But as they say, the forbidden fruit is always the sweetest. While his father was busy trying to sanitize the Harris name for the corporate world, his eldest son, King Harris, was consumed with falling in love with the ghost of his father's past. King did not want a silver spoon. He wanted the lead pipe, music. He didn't want the penthouse. He wanted the bando. For the past 3 years, King Harris's desperate attempts to shed his status as a wealthy kid have morbidly captivated the globe. The first were the small things, the rage-filled rap songs, and the posturing on social media. But it quickly became a PR catastrophe that even the best music fixers in Hollywood couldn't handle. Everyone remembers the infamous 2022 Waffle House incident. King Music, who was only a teenager at the time, was inside a restaurant berating minimum wage workers and flaunting stacks of cash when he threatened to pistol whip a short-order chef over a side of pickles. At a time of tremendous entitlement masquerading as street roughness, the internet erupted. Rather than being a wake-up call, the quick uproar was fuel. Music King leaned deeper into the chaos. His public challenges to his father's street credentials were referred to by many insiders as career suicide. In November 2023, the tension escalated to a violent boiling point at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. In a fancy room full of Atlanta's elite, King and T got into a physical altercation. "I'm small and musical." As the cameras recorded for Instagram Live, King raged that his parents were unpredictable and that he wasn't raised with a silver spoon. "I am the T." In order to avoid the public humiliation, he eventually had to place his own son in a headlock. He was obviously heartbroken and exhausted. "You are making your family and yourself look foolish," he told him then, in words that now sound like a dark premonition. "Boy, you can't do nothing with me." But the drama extended beyond the family. King recently decided to become a member of T.I.M. His long-running feud with 50 Cent was the final straw. By disrespecting 50 Cent's late mother on social media, King not only crossed a line, but he also removed it. No amount of security personnel can protect you from the extreme heat. People connected to the Grand Hustle camp said that T.I. was nearing his breaking point. The challenging love phase had officially begun. According to reports, the TIM told his inner circle that King will eventually have to face with the fallout from playing music and street games. One and those consequences were accompanied by retaliation. King's most recent arrest was more than just a traffic stop or failure to show up. It appeared intentional. It appeared as though King's accrued debt had finally been decided to be pursued by the cosmos, or perhaps by someone with a long memory. As soon as the heavy iron doors banged shut, the gated communities and private security forces of the DeKalb County Jail vanished. Music. In an institution full of men with nothing to lose, King was just an inmate with a famous last name. The prince of a rap empire is no longer. Music. History shows that in the Georgia jail system, having a well-known last name is often a liability rather than a benefit. For 20 years, some of the people in those prison cells had been waiting for a chance to exact revenge on Tay. Yes, I am. And now his flesh and blood are sitting in the center of them. The backdrop of this struggle is full of irony and betrayal. After laboring his entire life to get his family off the streets, the TIM witnessed his son use the same money to buy a one-way trip back in. Music. This was never limited to a jail cell. This is about a parent witnessing his greatest achievement fall apart. As we delve into the details of the leaked call, you'll find that King Harris's long-awaited bando has now shown its ugly true nature. Music. Atlanta's attitude shifted as soon as the news was out. King Harris had rejected bond. For someone with the Harris family's financial support, a minor probation violation or non-attendance is usually a turn-in and walk-out routine. You pay the price and sign the paperwork, and by noon you're back in a Maybach. But not this time. The judge allegedly cited fresh evidence and a record of careless disregard for the law when ordering King to remain in custody until a formal hearing. However, the nightmare did not start in the courtroom. 2:14 a.m. The M. It started in the high-security area of the DeKalb County Jail. According to a high-level source inside the prison, 3 independent industry insiders have now verified the audio tape that was leaked. It was captured using a jailhouse communication tablet. This video features a disorganized symphony of distant, booming gunshots and hammering metal doors as background noise. But in the front, a young man can be heard breathing shallowly and furiously after realizing he is no longer the predator. "Puppies, you need to listen to me." King's voice is a raspy whisper, trembling with a fear we have never heard from him, and they know everything. "A member of this gang told me that in 2004, he was in the bank with you. Pops, please get in touch with the lawyers. I'm not going to be able to work the morning shift," they are saying. "You owe a debt that was never paid, and since you're out there, I'm the one paying it in here," he declares. "They're watching my cell, Dad. Tell them I'll stay at home and do whatever it takes. Don't leave me here and I'll turn off the music." For the first time in his life, the young scion was dead. The child who bragged of standing on business was nowhere to be seen. After being deprived of his jewelry, fancy clothing, ego, and music, this 21-year-old boy came to the realization that, in a cage, $1 million is just paper if no one is coming to open the door. But at this point, the story takes a disastrous turn, and people on the internet are demanding tea. The head is me. While everyone was waiting for the much-anticipated news of a strong legal rescue, something went awry. Rumors that I wasn't answering the phone surfaced from the inner circle of Grand Hustle as soon as the tape was released. Imagine being the most powerful guy in Atlanta rap, with all the resources at your disposal, and choosing to put your son's call on voicemail when he claims his life is in danger. A screenshot of a text message that was allegedly given by T was made public. A family associate receives shockwaves from me via social media. The bando was what he desired. The gates, he claimed, were for cowards. There won't be any lawyers until the sun rises, according to the note. So tonight, let him see how the concrete feels. He needs to realize that there isn't a VIP section on the streets. The betrayal was finished. On the internet, a civil war broke out. How could a father, especially one who knows the dangers of the system like T? Yes, I am. Does music leave his flesh and blood in a lion's lair just to prove a point? Was this harsh love, or was it just music T? Yes, I am. He was so fed up with years of disrespect and 50-cent theatrics that he was willing to put his son's life in danger. But in an hour, the situation changed from one of emotional betrayal to one of physical agony. At the height of the harsh love rumor, a hazy 10-second video clip was uploaded to an anonymous street news account. It looks like a cell phone that was smuggled was used to record the footage from the jail's second-floor balcony. In the dim, flickering light of the common, a young guy who looks like King Harris is being cornered by 3 massive inmates. Music for the room. To the sound of heavy footsteps on concrete and a terrifying sudden silence are heard on the footage, but there is no dialogue. King pulls back and raises his hands defensively. He is pressed up against a cold brick wall, and his hands, which he used to make fun of minimum wage workers, are shaking. The film fades to black as one of the inmates grabs for his waistline. Within minutes, there were rumors that King Harris had passed away. The fear was real. 3:45 a.m. The Tiny Harris was reportedly spotted near the jail's entrance. The became upset, shouting at the guards to grant her access and claiming to have the bond money in cash. However, the chief head of the household and legal guardian of the estate's affairs allegedly locked the family's highest legal finances, making it difficult for the guards to move. Then the music took a surprising turn. As the dawn began to rise over the Atlanta skyline, a white medical transport van with its lights and sirens off was seen leaving the DeKalb County Jail. A process that is frequently reserved for cases that have already been settled. At the exact moment, an enigmatic post appeared on Instagram. Music is who I am. It wasn't a prayer. It wasn't a proclamation. The only caption on a black square said, "Too late." The internet stopped working. Did King Harris just pay the ultimate price for his untrustworthy persona? Or am I playing the most dangerous psychological warfare game ever seen in the music industry? The thrilling conclusion. An insider at the hospital intake desk recently disclosed a name on the critical arrivals list. The name is not Clifford Harris III. There is a secret T associated with this name. Yes, I am. Music has been hidden for 20 years. The world was still in disbelief when the medical wagon was leaving the penitentiary. I am a strange musician who posts music too late. Atlanta's digital environment erupted into a battlefield of misleading information and horrifying clarity. 6 a.m. The through music. The hashtag save hashtag Theoristup had given way to a much darker trend. The escalation was no longer centered on a misbehaving son in a prison cell. It was about a high-level conspiracy that seemed to involve both the rap industry and the top echelons of the legal system. The second major discovery came from a well-known underground news outlet that revealed a series of encrypted communications allegedly acquired from a burner phone used by a high-ranking gang boss inside the facility. The messages were horrifying. The prince is in the trap. Music. The king remains silent. We don't want the money. We want the documents. This confirmed the public's greatest fear. This was not your typical fight in the jail. This was a targeted hit. King Harris was not your typical inmate. He was being held as a human hostage by Core T. I am to provide information about a racketeering case that has long afflicted Atlanta's rap scene. The district attorney's office disclosed an internal memo that made the idea of tough love sound like a fairy tale, which was the real shock. The memo states that an anonymous source asked for the revival of the warrant that led to King's arrest. As social media detectives went into overdrive, the finger-pointing shifted to T. I am the main rival. Was 50 Cent's checkmate post more than a troll? Was it an admission? The internet began to speculate that the entire legal trap was put up by competitors in the industry who knew just how to promote T. I will continue till he reaches his breaking point. As the morning went on, the shocking discovery shifted from the streets to the Harris family's own ancestry. A security camera inside the Harris estate caught a heated physical. The picture. He knows that their song was not supplied to him by the operations. What was implied was clear. King now believed that his father had set him up. The identification question had given rise to a family quarrel. The farewell letter to Mum wasn't a suicide note. It was a declaration of independence, according to posts from King's fan accounts. Reports state that King and Tiny were talking about King possibly betraying T. Yes, I am. The screen displayed a final crucial update. Just got out of jail. A prominent Atlanta lawyer who has never worked for the Harris family tweeted that King Harris is no longer in the infirmary and is not in a cell. If you know where the cargo vehicle went, give me a call immediately. The suspenseful moment. The medical van that left the jail on the outskirts of Atlanta was headed neither to a hospital nor to a federal facility. It was observed arriving at a private airfield. Music and the King's son had not been set free. He's disappeared. Everyone was left wondering who had the authority to steal a famous person's son from a county jail in the middle of the night. The response was much more terrifying than any gang or rapper. The clock had run out and the game had just devolved into a battle. The internet hip-hop community reacted to King Harris's alleged jailhouse dread in a variety of ways. It physically broke due to its weight. There was no further online conversation 6 hours after the Save Me Pops recording was made public. The accountability camp was the first group to provide a stern and efficient analysis of the conflicting accounts at the crime scene. On websites like Reddit and X, the sentiment was cold and unyielding. A post that went viral and received nearly 100,000 likes in a single morning said, "King Harris spent 3 years begging for the streets." The streets are reacting as he sobs on a jailhouse phone after making mockery of every gated community his father built. This is not a tragedy, but a receipt. Allow him to stand on the company he said he owned. Prominent industry players, however, quickly broke their silence. The enigmatic remark from the well-known 50 Cent, who has been embroiled in a simmering online battle with the Harris family, was viewed by many as the ultimate industry checkmate. He didn't openly mock the King this time. Instead, he posted a high-resolution image of a chessboard with the King piece upside down. The caption contained merely the term music check. The inference was obvious to all. The dispute had escalated from Instagram captions to real consequences. Industry sources allege that 50's post subtly alluded to the allegations that people who were tired of King's ongoing contempt for the older generation in hip-hop arranged the gang hit inside the jail. Meanwhile, there was a rift in rap culture. T's longtime friend Boozy Badass posted a stirring Instagram live that received 500,000 views. Bane's neck bulged as Boozy screamed at the TV. "You people are insane. I don't care what he said about Pickles or who he yelled at. That's a child. If Tip's blood is on the ground, Atlanta as a whole will burn. Why can't the ruler of the South preserve his own seed?" For many, Boo's intervention altered the outcome by holding Gwinnett and Dalb County officials accountable for using King as a federal pawn to put pressure on T. I'm interested in specifics. However, the fans were far more divided. On TikTok, thousands of creators began analyzing the audio leak. The frequency of the voice, according to others, did not match King's usual tone, suggesting a deepfake meant to undermine the Harris legacy. But after Tiny Harris reportedly liked a comment that said, "The division erupted into fear," she quickly unliked it. "I'm letting him sit there so I can break him. It's not the federal government,